What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the show. So yesterday I posted a video and it got a lot of attention and people were really focused on what I was talking about when I was talking about the differences between Democrats and Republicans when it comes to Social Security. And it raised some more questions, and you had some people in the comments saying, you know what, President Biden, he wanted to cut Social Security. So what do you think about that? And so I decided to do a follow-up video just about that. President Biden, did he really want to cut Social Security and cut Medicare? So that's what we're going to talk about today. But first off, you guys can do me a favor. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit that little bell notification, and then click all. That way you'll get notified anytime I put out a video. We put out daily videos here, sometimes multiple videos in a day. And so by clicking that bell notification and clicking all, you should be getting all the notifications. And like always, if you are not getting notified when I post videos, please let me know in the comment section below, and I will relay this message to YouTube. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about this, but I want to start from the beginning, okay? Because I won't say from the beginning, but we're going to go back several years. Because that is what people are talking about. They're talking about something that happened 30 years ago, 40 years ago in one instance. And I'm going to show you a clip. I actually have a clip. We'll play that clip on the Senate floor. President Biden, or actually it was Senator Biden at the time, was talking about Social Security, Medicare, veterans. He was talking about a lot of different things. Okay, so we're going to show that quick clip. But I want to talk about Social Security back in the 80s, okay, back in the 80s and even into the 90s. It was a different program in the sense that it still provided benefits, but the American people who were retired at that time didn't rely on Social Security as much as they rely on Social Security now. And the reason for that is because they had pensions back then. A lot of companies would offer a pension. And if you don't really know, if you're not really familiar with how pensions work, pensions, basically, they're going to pay you the rest of your life. And so once you retire, you're going to get a set amount for the rest of your life. And then they will have the cost of living and do the same thing when it comes to a cost of living adjustment. But that was back in the 80s and then the 90s. Okay, that started to change. Actually, it started to change in the 80s, but we didn't see the real effect of this until the 90s and 2000, and then we started moving forward. And the change was a lot of companies, they didn't want to use these pension programs because it cost them more money. And so what did they do? They went into the 401k, 457 plans, all these different plans that they came up with. And with the 401k, the drawback of a 401k is, yes, you're contributing money into this 401k, but that money can run out. And so when you retire, you only have a certain amount. Let's say you have $1 million in your 401k and you're spending a little bit of that $1 million throughout your retirement, but then you get to a point where you run out of that money. And if you run out of that money, then guess what you're going to be relying on more? You're going to be relying on Social Security more. And so that's what we started to see, because pensions, they're pretty strong. You're getting that for the rest of your life. It's not going to run out. So you know that set amount is what I'm going to receive every year. And then whatever you need to offset that, that's where you'll pull in Social Security, and you might pull in from some other investments that you had, some other retirement plans that you had set up. But when it comes to 401ks, much different. And now what we're seeing is 401ks are everywhere. You very rarely see pensions. Okay, you see pensions in government jobs, working, and you know, my job where I retired from, I receive a pension, okay, because I work for the government. That's the reason why I receive a pension. But in a lot of jobs now, especially if you're in the private industry, they're not offering any type of a pension. And so what you're going to be getting is you're going to be getting a 401k if you get a 401k. Because some companies have gone away with everything. So no pensions, no 401k. You're pretty much on your own to invest your money how you see fit. And so that's a problem that we're seeing right now. So back in the 80s, they started doing away with pensions, but it didn't really affect people until they retired. Because when you're working, it's not going to affect you. But then when you start retiring, then you realize, okay, I have this 401k and it's only a certain amount of money that I have, so I need to draw on Social Security more. And so the reason that I'm telling you guys this is because when you're looking at politicians back in the 90s, back in the 80s, it was a different time, and Social Security wasn't as crucial as it is right now. And so I'm going to play this clip, and then we're going to talk about it, okay? And to answer your question, and make sure when you look at this clip, there's some writing on the clip. Make sure you read what the writing is. The clip's only like 17 seconds, and we're going to talk a little bit about it, so you won't be lost completely. But read what the writing is on this text. Here we go.
If we should freeze federal spending, I meant Social Security as well. I meant Medicare and Medicaid. I meant veterans benefits. I meant every single solitary thing in the government. And I not only tried it once, I tried it twice, I tried it a third time, and I tried it a fourth time.
Okay, so that was President Biden back in 1995. And like I said, read the text and we'll come back to it.
Let me just freeze federal spending.
So just reading the text, and we heard what he said. He's talking about putting everything on the table, right? And so as Joe Biden speaks in favor of cuts to Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid while supporting the GOP balanced budget amendment in 1995. Okay, so if you guys didn't know already, President Biden, when he was a senator, he was a moderate senator, okay, moderate Democrat. And so he's much like Senator Manchin. People, some people have their feelings about Senator Manchin. He's much like Senator Manchin. He's pretty much in the middle, and he would go back and forth, and he would try to work with Republicans when it came to certain legislation. And so President Biden, at the time, as a senator, he was on the Senate floor discussing the GOP budget amendment. Okay, he was in favor of this budget amendment back in 1995. And like I said, it was a different time then, where Social Security wasn't as crucial as it is today. And so they were looking at freezing things, okay? Just like we're hearing the politicians talk about it right now, President Biden was talking about it in 1995. And so one of the important things that we need to focus on too is, how does he feel about Social Security and Medicare now? Does he want to cut Social Security? Does he want to cut Medicare? And he says no. He says he does not want to cut Social Security. He doesn't want to cut Medicare. Now, another thing that we need to talk about, okay? And you can only take a politician for his word. If he's saying he doesn't want to cut it, that's all you can go off, right? We just had Senator Rick Scott, who's a Republican, on Sunday, a Sunday talk show, and he was talking about, no, I don't want to cut Social Security. I don't want to cut Medicare. I don't know any Republican that wants to cut Social Security, that wants to cut Medicare. And so all you can do is take these politicians for what they're saying and then do your own research. Okay, look individually, each politician. Are they consistent with this message? Are they changing their mind? Okay, I'm not here to try to tell you to vote for a Democrat or to vote for a Republican. All I'm saying is look at the representatives that you have in your district and find out how they feel about these issues. That's all I'm saying. If they are for it and you think that they're being honest and they've been consistent over the years, then vote for that person. If they're against it, then do what you need to do. But I'm just saying this is what's out there, okay? And when you hear people attacking President Biden about wanting to cut Social Security and wanting to cut Medicare, guess what? That was a long time ago that he talked about that, okay? And so you have to put everything in perspective. They're not telling you that it was 30 years ago or 1995 when this situation happened. They're not telling you that. They're telling you, oh no, this is something that President Biden wanted to do. But I think what's more important for us to focus on is what politicians are saying right now. Is Senator Rick Scott saying that he wants to freeze all government spending for every 5 years? Yes, he's saying that. He clearly stated that. Is Ron Johnson saying that he wants to freeze all government spending every year? Yes, he's saying that. And so you need to pay attention to what politicians are saying today. Yes, it does mean something if they said it in the past, and that should raise an eyebrow, but you also need to know what politicians are saying right now. And one thing we can do, we can go with the argument. Let's go with the argument that President his feelings are the same. So he still wants to cut Social Security and Medicare and veterans benefits and all that, right? We're going to say his feelings are the same that they were back in 1995. If that was a situation, the only way that would happen is if Republicans took over the House and the Senate currently. Because it wouldn't happen any other way, because you don't have Democrats out there saying, yes, we want to cut. The vast majority of Democrats saying, yes, we want to cut Social Security and we want to cut Medicare and we want to cut veterans benefits. You don't have Democrats saying that, but you do have some Republicans currently saying that. And so if we were to look at this situation that happened back in 1995, which we looked at it and we read exactly what it said, it's saying that Joe Biden was speaking on behalf, basically on the Senate floor, speaking on behalf of what the Republicans wanted to do when it came to balancing the budget. And so if we're looking at that, you have President Biden there, and then you have Republicans taking control of both the House and the Senate. Well, then all the cards are there. All the cards are in play, and that could be something that could be a reality. That's if you don't believe that President Biden wants to keep Social Security and keep Medicare the same and not do any cuts. If you're just saying, you know what, no, he wants to make cuts and he talked about doing cuts, then we can look at that. 1995, yes, he did say that in 1995. If he still feels that way now, what you don't want is you don't want the other cards to be in play. You don't want the House and the Senate to go to Republicans, okay? Hopefully you can understand that argument there. But I'm not here to tell you how to vote, okay? And some people in the comments are saying that, no, you shouldn't be telling us how to. I'm not telling you how to vote. I'm just telling you there's certain situations that you need to look at when it comes to Social Security, when it comes to Medicare. You have politicians that are in favor of it, and you do have politicians that are against it. Okay, you need to know who those politicians who are opposed to moving forward with Social Security. You need to find out who those politicians are. Okay, and before we go, I have one thing that I want you guys to do for me. Okay, so we know when it comes to Democrats, there's some Democrats that want to expand Social Security. Okay, you know, Senator Bernie Sanders, Senator Warren. You have some other politicians that have talked about it as well. We have these different bills that they've created. But when it comes to Republicans, I can't think of any current Republican that wants to expand Social Security. So what I want you guys to do for me in the comment section below, if you know of any politicians, any Republicans that want to expand Social Security, that have talked about expanding Social Security, let me know in the comment section below. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe for more, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye.